Welcome back to my channel, you beautiful human beings. That's a weird intro. This is going to be a special video because it's about something that the channel was originally meant to be more about. Now, I love tech, obviously, so we're going to do more tech. We have more stuff coming in for that. But in a series, I want to go through some Python programming because I love solving problems with Python. The scripting part of Python, like making Python scripts to make your life easier, is one of my main areas to use Python for. So in this video, we're going to start off by looking at some problem-solving skills. One of the most important things in programming, problem solving, right? So it's going to be a password generator, and you might think, well, there are millions of password generators out there. Yes. So do we need this? No. You might find it useful if you're an admin and you just want to generate random passwords for new people coming in. You know that first password you get and you have to change it right away when you get an email? Maybe you can use it for something like that, unless you already have something for that. But that's not the point. The point is, we are going to look at a few different things. 3 to be exact. Words, it's going to be English words. So we're not just generating a random string based on a bunch of characters. We're generating words. So how do we get all the English words in the dictionary? Well, you grab a dictionary, you open it on A, and you start typing, right? Or you can use a list, a text file, because someone else already did that. So you can use that. You can download a text file. We're going to do that. You can scrape the web online. We're going to do that as well. And there's a funny module called random words, which is awesome. That doesn't work in Python 3.10. We'll be using 3.10 throughout the whole tutorial, but I'm going to jump over to Python N-word and show you the random word generator as well. You can grab the code from the GitHub link as well. If you want to follow along and actually code, that's awesome. If you just want the code and have it next to you while I go through all the procedures and functions, you can do that as well. So whatever you decide to do, just enjoy. And one thing, there are most likely 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 million people out there who are way better than me in programming in general. So do let me know if you see areas in my code I can improve. I really want to learn how to write better code. So look at my code. Don't be afraid to tell me that that's a really dumb way to do that code. That I would actually appreciate that. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach some people that are probably new to Python one way to do it. And if that's not the best way, I really want to know what the best way is. So keep throwing that in the comments below. If you want to read more about my Python experience and other Python tutorials, I've already done a bunch of written articles. Medium.com is a blogging platform, an article platform, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to leave my profile link in the description below. So if you are not a paid subscriber there yet, you get access to a few articles, and you can also become a paid subscriber. I'm going to leave my referral link in the description below, and that's going to unlock thousands and thousands of articles. So if you're into Python, Medium has thousands of Python articles. All right. We're going to dive into the code itself, so sit back, grab a coffee, do a little keyboard smashing if you want to, or just sit back and enjoy. Let's get into it. So now it's time to look at the coding itself for the password generator. And I just want to quickly show you that this is also a written article that I have over at medium.com. So if you want to read this, you can also go to Medium and read about the article there. But first, let's have a look at the brief, because the brief we already talked about. We need numbers. We need numbers from the English language, like from the English dictionary. And then we have word separator, word, as many words as we like. We have more separators. There's a number, and then there is a potential special character. So the example here would be Stormy Friday 007 percentage. And they're all separated by this dash. All right, so that's our brief. Now we need to go in and see what we need to do to meet this brief. So let's hop into Atom and start the actual coding. Okay, so in the description there is a link, and in this link you can download the text file with all the English words. So if we have a look at that, we have a text file with all the words. Now we're going to use that to get random English words. We need to get English words, and then we need to get random number with padding, because we're going to set a padding here. And then we need to set a separator. That's probably just going to be a small part of the main code. And then what else do we have? We have numbers, separators, and we also have the special character. Add special character. That's some of the things that we need to do. We need to also, let's get a bit more specific. We want to store words in list. We're storing these English words. So let's just store English words. Sorry for being a bit specific here. Store English words from dictionary in a list. That way we can use these words. And how do we use them? Well, we do that by generate random word from dictionary list. Don't confuse this with Python dictionaries. This is actually a physical dictionary, English word dictionary. And then we have the random number. And then we have the special character. We need to generate and add the special character. And this is just something that I think we will do in the password generator code. All right, it's time to start working on the code itself. And looking at all our thoughts here, it's obvious that we need random. So the first thing we're going to do is to just import random. All right, so that's done. We're not going to use it right away, but it is there so we can actually use it eventually. The first thing we're going to tackle is this. We want to store English words from the dictionary in our list. So we're going to do 3 approaches here. Let's do the first one and then use that throughout the code. And then at the end of the video, we're going to look at the 2 different ways, or the 2 additional ways to do the same thing. So they're different, and you can just choose the one that works best for you. I have a favorite. We'll get back to that later. All right, our first function will be the get words one. Get words, and then we are going to add a word path as a parameter, word path. So what that means is that when we want to use get words, we need to pass a path as well. Now you can see our main py is in the password generator folder. Wherever you place this word text file, you just need to guide the program to where that is. Now in this case, you might say this is a bit hard-coded because we're just going to do source/words. You might want to consider doing this to be able to pass something like this, main.py. And then you pass the actual text file. But that's a different tutorial. In this one, we are going to hard code it a bit. So if you're not a fan of hard coding, you might want to look into the sysargv1. Whenever I get to making that tutorial, it's going to pop up a link at this point. All right, so let's get pass out of the way because that doesn't do anything. We need to open the file and we need to store a list and return the list. So let's do a with open. The reason I like to use with open is because it actually closes the file as well. So instead of going open file, blah, 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 and then close, you can just go with open as file and then do whatever you like. And whenever you're done, we're going to return the list as well. Whenever you are done with whatever you want to do, it will close the file. So pass the word path in, and we're going to set this to read mode like that. And then this is the hacky part. We're just going to make a word list, and our word list is just going to be a list of the file. So we're just going to grab the whole file and make a list of it. So this might feel a bit weird, but let's give it a go. Now, the downside of this is that you can see here already that it stores the new line character. So whenever you go through a list and you have like ABC, oops, A, B, C, D, E, F, something like that, there is a new line character in every single line. So whenever you grab a line, you're going to get the new line character. Now we don't want that, but in this case, we are going to deal with that later. What you might normally do for a smaller file is that you can go through with read lines and read through all the lines of the file, and then you can also strip that new line right out of the line when you store it into the file. Now in our case, we're just going to make a list and then be done with it, because we're going to grab the words from the file, and then we're just going to deal with the strip whenever we use it. All right, so let's do a test here and then see how that goes. So we're just going to print get words, and what are we piping in? Well, we are piping in the path, which would be source words.txt. Save that, clear, run it. So that ran through the whole file. I didn't really mean to, but it was really fast anyways. What I wanted to do was to do something like this. And clear that and run it again. So here you can see, I don't see how 2 is a word in the English dictionary or 1080, but that's the text file we're working with. All right, so now at least we know it works, right? So we're going to comment out this and keep working on our functions. So we have the first function, get words. Now we actually have the words. And for us to continue, we need to generate a random word based on this list. And you can see throughout my code, I'm going to break up a lot of things into functions because I want to be able to reuse these or expand on the idea of this. And you can see that later as well, that now that we have this get words function, when we decide to change the way we do get the words, we're just going to replace the get words function and the code will still run because we just need a list returned, right? So that's why you see me breaking up into functions that do smaller things, and then we put everything together in the main code. So we're going to make another function, generate random, words. And what are we going to pipe in here? Well, we need to give it the list that we return, right? We need to give it this word list. So we're going to go and call that the word source. This is our word list. And then what else do we need? We need to know how many words we are actually going to generate. So we're going to add something called word count. And that's something that you as a user can pipe into this function. So you go generate random words and you pipe in the word source, in our case, the list that we return from here. And then you do a word count where you tell this function how many words do you want to generate. And this as well is also returning another list. And that list we're going to call password words. So password words, that's an empty list. And to go through this list, let's think about the best way to do this. We might want to, well, we have a word count, so that's our range. So we know that our range would be, we can do this in several ways. We can either do a while loop where we go with an iterator and we go, as long as the iterator is lower than word count, keep generating passwords. You can also do the range, use range. So for this one, we're going to do that. So for words in the range, and the range is going to start at 0. And then it's going to be till word count, right? So we're going to generate this till we hit word count. So 0, 1, and then if we have a word count of 2. So that means we're going to cycle through this and generate words for as long as the word count is set. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to create a random index. And the random index is based on the length of our word source. So that's a really long text file, right? So there's a lot of lines. I don't even know what's the actual count of the lines. So again, there are several ways to do this. I don't really like this approach too much, but it works. So random rand int, because we need an integer, we just need the index, right? Rand int, and then it's going to go from the start of the list, and then it's going to go through the whole length of the list, and that's our word source. And we need to go -1. If we don't go -1, it's going to go out of bounds, like out of the index list of the list. So if the list has 10 items and you go to 11, it's going to return an error because you're outside of the list. So now we are generating the index. So this is just going to return a number. It can be 1, it can be 999, it can be 1345. It can be any number between 0 and the length of the list. And what are we going to do with that random index? We're going to return we're not going to return, we're going to get a word and we're going to append it to the password words. Password words, that's the word. All right, so let's do that. Password words, append. Now, what are we doing here? We're doing this. Password words, append. And in the append, we're going to append, what are we going to append? We're going to append the word source with the index that we get from the random index. So our word source with the index of random index, like that. And now we can do the strip that we looked at earlier. So let's do that. And we're going to do an art strip, because we know that the new line is on the right side. And that's going to strip everything on the right. And you know what? That's our list. So now we can return the password words. All right, nice. Let's see how that looks. Let's do a test. So to test this, we're just going to do another print. I like to just use prints because it gives you a visual feedback. I know that print is not the best way to debug your code, but we're not really debugging, we're just testing out the code, right? So we can generate random words and we can do the word source here. So instead of doing a long single line, we can do something like this. So we store the words and that word list will then be passed on to the generate random words. So here we can do the print. Let's not do print. Generated words is generate random, come on, words, and we are passing in words, and we are going to tell it that we want 4 words. All right, now we can print that. Generated words. And clear, run. All right, we have experimentalist, Cupidon, Gasking, and Bashara. But yeah, you will learn a lot of new English words writing this password generator. But at least we know what works. We asked for 4 words. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means that this is indeed working. Nice. What's next? Well, we need to generate a special character. The special character is actually just a string, and then we're just going to grab special characters from that string. It's really simple, but let's just quickly go through it. So if you remember my article from Medium, there is a special characters string in the article. Let's copy that, copy, and paste. Great, that's our special string. Def generate, we're generating a lot of things, and this time we are doing a special character. There we go. And what do we need here then? We just need to know how many special characters we are making. So we're going to do a amount. There we go. And now we can do the while loop just so you can see the difference between the word count here in the range and the while loop. Special characters equals, and that's just this string right here. Now we have to look at We need to do some escape characters maybe, so maybe we can actually just run the whole thing through triple quotes and see if that works. In theory, I think that should work. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. All right, so we need a character count as well, a character count, and that's our counter. It starts at 0. And then while our character count is less than the amount that the user asked for, we are just gonna keep working on the loop. While our character count is less than amount, we are gonna do stuff. All right, I think we need to create a string to hold this. So let's call that password special characters. That's just an empty string for now. We're adding a random int to pull a character. And this is not a list, but you can access characters in a string using the index. So we can actually just generate the index and then just pick it from here. All right, so let's do that. We're gonna do password special characters. And then we're gonna do plus equals because this string is empty, but whatever we generate, we wanna add to this. So by doing plus equals, we're actually saying that password special characters equals password special characters plus whatever we are about to do. So by using plus equals, you bypass saying something like this. It's shorter, nicer, very clean. All right, special characters, because we're generating a random index of this one, because we need to do an empty string plus something from this string. So we need to access the index, a random index here. All right, so special characters, and the index will be random randint, oops, and our range here is going to be the entire length of this. So kind of like we're used to over here, we're going to do randint, and we're going to start from 0, and then we're going to get the length of the special characters list. So special characters, that's the string -1, because -1 will make sure we don't go outside of the length of special characters. So now what's going on is that if it goes to 0, it's going to pick the exclamation mark. If it goes to some random index, it's going to pick up this one, it's going to pick up this one. So now this is going to pick random characters, special characters even, based on the amount. So we can try that as well. Let's just make sure it returns something. And to make sure this loop actually ends, we need to increase the character count. Whenever we're done something, we need to make sure the character count goes up so we don't have an infinite loop. So character count needs to plus equals 1. This means that it starts at 0, and the first time you go through something in this loop, it adds a character, adds a number. God, it iterates. And then whenever we are reaching amount, we end the while loop. But we need to return something, and what do we need to return? We need to return the password special characters, because that's the string that we want to use later. So return that. All right, nice. Now we have the generate special character function. And of course, let's test that, see if we get any errors before we proceed. Generate special character, we need 5 of those. All right, so print that. Let's see how that goes. Clear, I always like to clear. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 special characters. Let's do that again. See that you get a random special characters. Nice. All right, this is pretty smooth. Numbers. Now, whenever you work with numbers, you generally work, like your mind is set to integers, floats, actual numbers, working with ints. But we have a special case here. And that special case is, what if you want to generate 0, 6? If you use randint between 1 to 10, you're not going to get 0, 6. If you get 6, you're just going to get 6. So we need to find a way where we can approve leading zeros. So that means that if you have a padding of 3, you can't just generate a word between, or a number between 1 and 999, because then you might get 1 and you don't get 001. So we're gonna have to support leading zeros. There are probably many ways to do this, but my approach in this tutorial is to use string instead of ints. So again, we're just gonna cycle through a loop, and I'm gonna use a while loop here as well, because we are gonna use padding where you just tell the script how many numbers you want. And then we're basically doing the same as generate special characters. So I'm gonna write out the code here so you can see what's going on. First, we're gonna do a generate random number. And then we need padding. So padding just tells us how many numbers there are. All right, so first let's make the string. So that's gonna be our password number. And that's just an empty string for now. And then we need a counter as well. So we're gonna do padding counter and set that to 0. And now we can do our while loop. So while our padding counter is less than padding, we're gonna keep generating numbers. And our random number, we are going to do random randint as normal, right? And this time we are going to just make a number between 0 and 9. We just want to generate a number. And we don't care about padding now because we just want to make between 0 and 9 padding amount of times, right? So this is just generating a number from 0 to 9. Now we want to convert that to a string because we want to work with strings. We want to support 0. And then we can either do a random number here and store it, or we can throw this code straight into password number. So let's try that. Maybe that's actually quicker. So password number, which is empty now. And we can do plus equals here and see if that works. Plus equals, and then just throw that in there. All right. And of course, as always, we need to increment the padding counter. And when we're done with the loop, we can return the password number. And remember, this password number is a string. All right, so let's just do that properly, right? All right, let's test this, see what we get. We can do a print again, generate random number, and we want a padding of 10. All right, let's go. All right, we can't do that because random is not defined. That's just a typo. So generate random number, random, save. There we go. So clear this. We're just going to do this a couple of times. We got our special characters and we got our numbers. So how many numbers do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so now we know that these two are working. Basically, everything's been working up until now. So all we need to do now is to generate the password. And because we've made all of these functions, we can generate the password just by using one function, two functions, three functions. And then what if we need something else later? We can just add another function and bring that into our code. So now we're going to do the main code of the whole password generator. And that's going to be generate password. And now what do we need to pipe in here? Well, we need the word list, right? So we're going to call that all words. And then we need a word count, remember? Because we need, up here, we need word source and word count. So how many words do we need? Well, we are going to need word count. We're going to need a separator as well. Remember, we haven't done anything with separators, but we need a separator when we generate the whole password itself. So that's a password separator. And then we need a padding as well. That's for our number. We want to make special character optional But in this password, we're limiting the special characters to be appended at the end of the password. So, I mean, you can of course shuffle that around if you want to, but for this one, if you do add special, then it's going to be added at the end. And then there's also a special amount that tells the script how many special characters you want. Now, there's a lot of parameters, but let's just do one at a time. So we're going to call, this is a bit funny because we know that we are generating, or I know, you don't know yet, but what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create another list, and then I'm going to use join to actually make the string that is the password. So the first part of our password is the actual word list. So let's create something called new password. This is our actual password. That's the goal of the whole program. And what that is, by start, is generate random words. I actually want to use new password and then just throw the list of the generated random words right into the new password list and then build on top of that. So we need to do all words. That's this one right here. That's the actual word list. And then we need a word count. So right here, you can see that we generate words based on the word list and based on the word count that the user tells us to, right? So that's our new password. We could stop there, but then we have failed our brief. And now we need to generate some numbers, right? So let's just do that. New numbers. And that's using generate random number. So generate random number, we're going to use a padding. And of course, we have a padding here, so we can use that. Now you can see how I'm just using all these functions in the generate password function. So that's, if I need to change how generate random numbers behave, I can just go in here and do that. All right, what's next? Well, we need to append this into new password. Now, you can probably do that in one go, but I just want to do that step by step so you see what's going on. So new password, and then append, and I'm appending new numbers. So what you're basically seeing here is car, glasses, and then 1, 2, 3. That's what happens now. Now that's what our new password looks like. We're not done there. We have words, we have a number, and then we have a special parameter here. So special just means, is there a special character? And it is, in this case, we go, if it is, so if special character, or if special, actually, if special, that means if special is true, if this is set to true, and we can also set the default to true. So if we just do this, it is default true. So if special, we need to generate the special characters. So just like we did with the new number here and appending it to the new password, we want to cycle through, not cycle through actually, because the cycling that happens in the function, and that's why this is so beautiful. So let's do new special, and what happens there? Well, we generate special character, and then we have the amount. So the amount is something that we define over here, like that. So this now generates special characters, and it generates as many as we want, and then we just append that. So we can just do new password, append it, and this time we append special. All right, so now what we have is our password. Our password now is car, glasses, 1, 2, 3, %. And now we can use join. Let's use join to generate the entire password based on this list. So I'm just going to comment out this just so you can have it there. Remember our separator? Like the example we had earlier would have separators with a dash like that, right? So we can define the separator, and the separator is what we will be using in the join. So if you've used join before, you basically tell, let's use something weird. Hello in uppercase, dot join, and then to join all the elements in the list, our list is the new password. This now would be like that. It's going to join all the elements in the list with the separator. Now we want to be a bit more clever, so we're just going to add separator over here. This is our new password that we are going to return. So let's just go ahead and return that. All right, as always, we need to test this out. We might have some bugs here and there, you know. So we're going to do this password generation with our new generate password. So print, and then what do we need to pipe in here? Well, we need words. How many words do we want? We want 4 words. And what separator do we want? We want to have a dash, or maybe we want to go bold. There we go. Separator, padding for our numbers. We want 3 numbers. Special, yes, that's already true, but there we go, true. And then the special amount, how many special characters do we want? We want 3. Now this is the exciting moment of truth. Let's clear this and see if we need to fix the code. There we go. So we have non-default argument follows default argument. Okay, I think I see what's going on here. I think we need to switch, because the special amount here, if we add 2 here to a default, so we can do this, then it works. But if we want special amount to be open and the parameter that the user needs to pass in an actual value every single time, we should probably move it over here, because then we have non-default arguments here and then the defaults at the end. Let's see if that works. Yes. All right. So this password is a bit long and weird. Not weird, but let's just shorten it a bit to make it something that looks like a password you could actually get from an admin. I think 2 words is enough, true, and 1 special character. So the password might look like this. There we go. I can't even pronounce the first one, and again, you're gonna learn a bunch of new words. There we go. So that's the password generator. Now, there are several ways you can expand on this. Like, you can take this further. You can create, let's say you create like a user menu where the user would like type in how many words do you want? What's your padding for your numbers? Do you even want numbers? You can add that into a user menu. You could also ask the user if you want uppercase or lowercase, if you want uppercase on all the words or on one of the words. Like, you can take this into like you can do whatever you want basically. But now you have the basics of this password generator. That was so much fun. But I did promise you something. I promised you that we're gonna look at more ways to do this. So we are gonna look at a different way to do this. Now we've had the text file, right? So the text file is really easy and really, I mean, if you have the text file on the disk, then you're good to go, right? But if that changes and you are depending on a file that is constantly updating, we can use something else. Let's do URL lib. That's a fun one. All right, so because this generate random words is a function that we wrote over here, it's basically feeding on this word list. So it doesn't care how that word list is generated, right? So let's comment out this old word list and write it again. Yes, write code more times. All right, let's start by importing, or actually we can do from URL lib, we need requests. Request import URL open. All right, and then we need the path. So this is just gonna allow us to open a website and grab that file. All right, let's write the get words again then. So def get words, and again, we are going to pass not the path to a file, but the path to the website. So let's just call that website so it's obvious what it is. So with URL open, the website. It looks similar, right, to the file. Website as word list. Oops, word list. There we go. What are we gonna do? We're gonna grab that text file from the web, text file, and that's gonna be our read. So let's do a word list, word list, read. And that's gonna read that file. And then let's split lines right away. Split lines, there we go. So this actually throws, what's going on? Text file, word list, text file equals, that's probably clever. Text file equals word list, read, split lines. Now, actually this returns the, well, let's just actually show you that. So return text file, there we go. Now let's comment out these ones and do print get words this website. And of course this is linked in the description below. And then we have corn. This is a word site or word name, corn cob lowercase .txt. So it's still a text file, but it's online. And let's just do the first couple of words. Okay, does it work? I don't know, let's see. It's fetching something. Yeah, it's fetching it. And now it's coming back as bytes. We don't really want that. So we need to decode this into clear text. And that's really easy. We just need to add a line, or not a line even, we just need to add decode here. And normal human readable text, like as you're used to, is the UTF-8. You can read more about decoding and encoding online. Let's just see if that works. It does work. So now we have the same get words function. Not the same, but we have another one, but it works in the same way. It's slower, so you have to consider that as well. And then we can uncomment this one. So we need to replace this. You know what? Let's just keep that for later reference, like that. And then do this. So get, what is it? Words. Words equals get words. And then we are piping in this one. That's our get words. So you can see, because we're using functions like we do, this is so easy to tweak. All right. Sorry for getting excited, but it's just so nice to deal with code like this. So again, we're generating a password based on words, and there you go. Generate another one. There we go. Thunder Terribly 23. Nice password. The last one we're going to look at is called random word. It's actually a library that you can use that does everything for you. It just generates random words for you. So I am on Python 3.10 here. So I'm going to go over to Python Anywhere and just select Python 3.9 or 6 or whatever. I think it's working on all the way up to 3.9. So it's probably close depending on when you're watching this tutorial. At the moment, it's not supported on 3.10, but let's dive in and have a look. All right, I'm on Python Anywhere. I'm going into files and let's create a new file. So we have random dev. Let's just use random dev and create a new file called random words If you want to install Random Word, you can do that by going to their site. I'm of course going to link to the site in the description below. Make sure you do a pip install for Random Word so you have it. Now back into Python Anywhere, what we need is to get from Random Word, we need to import random words. Okay, so that's just to get us going. Now let's create a generate random words. And what do we need? We need a word count, like that. So everything is quite similar. We need a word container. This is just me calling it container because I like, it's gonna create an object, right? So container, and that is just gonna be random words. Now that is an instance of the class. All right, and with this class, we can just use get random words. It's just so easy. So word list equals word container dot get random words. And then we have a flag limit, and that is the word count. So, I mean, how easy was that? And because there are so many weird words, there is also a flag called has dictionary def. So you can set that to true if you want words that actually has a meaning or is in the dictionary. So has dictionary def, I think. And then print generate random words 2. All right, and we can see here there is a local variable word list is assigned but never used. Maybe we should return it. So let's do that. Return word list. All right, beautiful. Python 3.7 running. Yes, it did. Transfigurative ratifies. What is ratifies? If someone in the comments can tell me what ratifies is, I'd appreciate that. Let's run it again. Grassbird. Apparently grassbird is a dictionary word in the English language. All right, so that concludes the different ways of doing this. I mean, there are probably more ways to do this, but these are 3 different ways you can get random words, and then also the variety of functions where you can generate a password from all of this craziness. So, I mean, this is just to kick you off, get you going. You can create UIs where you add drop downs and do all the things you want, but this is kind of the base of the password generators. So I hope you had fun. I haven't had this much fun in a long time when it comes to content, so I'll be doing more Python. All right, I really hope you enjoyed that. I have more incoming, of course, so let me know if you enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing because then you'll know when my next tutorials are coming out. That was fun. I'm gonna do more of these. So see you later, happy coding.